Hey, hello all. Is this audible for? Is it audible for all of us? Okay. Hey, so who is the new one? Just give your name in your comment box. Let me know who is that. Nitish Kumar, early waiting for this section. Thank you. Thank you so much for waiting. We will not. Okay. Okay, so we start our session shortly at 8:30. Okay, so shortly at 8:30. So the 5 minutes before I logged in, because we talk about the earlier section, and if you have any doubts at all, if you can clear from your side. So that is why I started 5 hours before, and I have some announcements to do. Tell that uh, before every video starts. So that's why I started 5 minutes earlier. If you have any doubts, you can go and we wait for the students to join because I think now the notification is sent to all, right? So they will come very soon. Okay. Okay, so wait for a few more, like around 3 minutes. I think I logged in very soon. Okay, so we wait for around 3 minutes and we can sharply start our sections after the 3 minutes. Okay, so what we're going to cover means we just going to cover about yesterday we have seen about promises and all, right? So in JSBin we have been worked in the JSBin and all. So now what are we going to see? We just going to see about how this async. So I ended the class with asyncs by using promises like that, right? So mostly mostly the asyncs is used with the APIs. Okay, so API calls and all, and mostly with the fetch API. So that is what we're going to discuss now. So we're going to see about how asyncs and how to use that asyncs and how it works in the fetch API and how to control the flow that. Okay, so that is what we're going to discuss now in this sections from the starting, and then we move on to the ES6 concepts where we're going to learn about objects, classes, inheritance, how to create an object by using classes, and we're going to see about what is inheritance and so on things is good to come is that, and that is all we're going to discuss. Okay, so that is for now, that is for today. Okay, so at the end of this entire YouTube 7 days complete, so we're going to discuss all the things, like we're going to discuss whatever the concept you want to here, whatever the concept you are learning here, or that's what's going to be what's happens means whatever the concept here you are learning, that is going to be useful when you're working with some like frameworks like React, those frameworks mostly for React. Okay, so these ES6 concepts we are going to work, it's going to be useful, and we're going to see about some of a little bit other concepts like what is hoisting, what is clauses, what is like prototypes and inheritance at the end of the class. So today we're going to cover about the asyncs and all, and we're going to cover about the ES6 starting. Okay, so because in ES6 we have there is so much of things as in ES6, but we have covered it already. That is the beauty. Like what are the concepts you have covered in ES6 means we have covered like what is the difference between the variables like const, let, and var. So we have like an A mini explanation is going to be here, and template literals, I think, hope you know, that is also an ES6 concept. And there are so much of things is there, and that is also we have covered. So the main focus is in upcoming classes, in the next next classes, it's going to be like what is mean by immediate evoking function. Okay, so that is what we're going to see, and we're going to see about closures. Okay, so we're going to see about closures, we're going to see about hoisting, we're going to see about like constructor functions and uh, prototypes. I think the constructed classes and all we're going to cover today. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. Okay, just one more minute is left, and we just move on to the session straightforward. Okay, just wait for one more minute. If you have any doubts, and if you're new to here, just give a like good vibes in the comment. Okay, so I will check. Okay, so and also I get great response in LinkedIn yesterday, and they asked some of the doubts which are they are not understanding, and I welcome you all. Okay, so I hope some of them are asked about the doubts and all, and they asked about some other concepts like APIs, like what is mean by interceptors, observers, API, like how that animation works and all. Okay, so that's not we going to cover here, but we're just going to see that in TWD in very future. Okay, so because we are planning to upgrade ourselves to the advanced with YouTube, so we're going to do that. Okay, so I just going to start the section. It's like 8:30, so I just going to start the section. If you have any doubts, you just give a comment. Okay, so some students are joined and some of them are still not, and I know that they will join pretty a little bit late. I know that because of the timing we are going this 8:30 like that. Okay, okay, so I just going to share the screen. Share it. I think it will be available now. Okay, so I just going to use this. Okay, okay, so I'm sharing here itself. Okay, so what we have discussed yesterday means we have discussed about what is promises, what is something like callbacks, and we see that some people are thinking like callbacks is a different concept, promises is a different concept, async await is a different concept, they do different activities. That is not true actually. And from the yesterday class you will come to know everything is an upgradation, right? So callbacks is upgraded to promise, and now this promises is upgraded to like what async await, and we cannot say like upgradations. Async await is like a syntactic sugar, which means it reduces the syntax because promises is so big. Okay, if you take the promises, it is so big, and the syntax is also so big, and there are lots of an error catch method available there, and we need to focus and all so much of things is that. But here in async await, it is pretty going to be easy. Okay, so now today what we're going to do, yesterday we see about how can we work with promises and async await together. Now what I'm going to do, this async await is mostly used with this fetch API. Okay, so what is not yes, fetch API. So what is meant by fetch API means, so fetch is nothing but it is an API that helps us to fetch the data. Like it works as an, we can say like it works as an I think most of you familiar with Postmans, right? So Postmans, I hope that you are familiar with, and this is Postman. Okay, so this is Postman, where it is used for working with this is a tool that is used for working with API and all, and this would be useful. Okay, so we use that Postman tool and all, and that is whatever the API link we are giving, and what it do means it just show the data. Okay, so let I explain how it works. So first of all, let's go and take some API. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. So I just going to, for that there are lots of some dummy APIs, or we can say some fake APIs. Some of them APIs are available like so much of things. Okay, so for example, if I go for like Pokemon API. Okay, so this is an API for Pokemon. So this is what, by using this API, what we can do means we can able to we can able to like whatever the data inside this we can able to access. For example, here you can see actually this is an API, and this is a link for this API. Okay, so if we are capable to access, so we put this link in our fetch API means. So like you can consider, like if we use, that is called as a method, right? So we can say, like right now I say that fetch method, if I use it in fetch API method, what happens means, if I use this means, here you can see all the data has been listed out here, right? So this will be listed out in our where, so in our like in our place. Okay, so in our workflow. Okay, so the fetch API is nothing but in a link, the API is in a link format. So what it does means, it just take all the data. Okay, it's just take all the data and returns the data towards that. Okay, so let I explain how it works, and this is how the APIs are. Okay, so I just click API, like, and you can see inside an API, this is called as data. Okay, so this is called as data. This is something called as Pokemon API, where all the data has been included. And you can just notice this. This look pretty like it makes some confusion. Don't worry, but you can notice that everything inside this is an object and array. It's okay. So why I'm saying that, because there are so much of things is there, and that is going to be an object. That should be an object and array. That's how it works. Okay. So right now we're going to, what we're going to see, we're going to fetch an API. Okay, so by you fetching that API, what would happen? What may happen? So if I fetch that API means, it takes some times, right? It takes some time. So I need to wait for that time, and after that I want to run the code. So before, because we see that JavaScript waits for no one. So if it is not wait for that particular time to run, what would happen? So what would happen, before that every data is getting, before all the data is get, what would happen? The output will be run. That is what happens. So here you can see in Pokemon API, we have so much of data, right? So we need to give that particular code that time to run, right? So we need to give that particular code and particular time to run the data. Okay, so after fetching that, this data is fetched successfully. What we need to do, we need to do the code. Okay, so there is a pause, there is a waiting is there. Okay, that waiting is important. So that is what Async is going to do. So that is what we're going to do now. Okay, so for that I'm going to use the fake API generator. So that is also an API. So let's I see what I'm going to do means. So here what I'm going to use, I just going to use async in fetch. So mostly we use async at await, not fetch, it's fetch. Okay, so async at await with this fetch API. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, so for using async, I just going to use the keyword async, and there is a function is going to be there, and I just declare a function, and here I just going to say users, and uses the name of the function. Okay, so if someone calls this function, this by using the username, this async indicates that I am using and I'm going to use. So it just indicates that it's going to return a promise. Okay, so just that is what it indicates. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I just going to say const. Okay, declaring a variable, and I just say const, I just say res, I just naming it. Okay, so I just declare a variable and naming it. So in this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fetch the data. Okay, so for fetching the data, what I want to use, I want to use the fetch, right? So I want to use the fetch method. So inside whatever the link we are giving, we are able to fetch that. So here there is a Pokemon API. So Pokemon API, we have lots of subdivisions and all. So I just go for easy one. So I just go for fake API. Okay, so that is a thing called fake API is there, and this is also nothing but it produces some fake API and all. So here you can see they are also used with the fetch, and they are explaining how to use. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to copy this. Okay, I comment of this, and I show you how it works. Okay, first we discuss about how the fetch work, and then we're going to see about how this work. Okay, so I just go for the console, and I just say clear and refresh here. Okay, mismatch of finally after triad static JS been. Okay, 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 I think okay, so here it is not commented. That is, I think something error is happening. Okay, so here you can see what I did, I just go for this API syntax, and what I did means I just copy the code. So this is used to understand how the fetch work. Okay, so first we're going to discuss that. Okay, so here you can see if I use the fetch keyword, and in this API method, if I put the link, the API link means what would happen means this will if it is successfully loaded, what will happen, this then it's go for then, and whatever the things that are inside that API, that will comes in the response parameter, and that's response parameter is goes with this JSON. What this JSON do means it's just parse it. Okay, so what it did, it just parse it. Okay, so whatever it comes, whatever the data values there, the JSON method, it's parse it, and then this response is going for again then, and here that parsed value is passed to this parameter JSON, and that is logged in the console. Okay, so that is what happens here. That is what happens here. Okay, so if I don't do this means, if I don't do this, okay, so here you can see there is no parsing is happened, it just comes as it is how it looks. Okay, so if I do this, what happened, you can see it is like something like so this is the actually what it is inside this means this is inside. Okay, so this data is inside. So here object it's saying that it is an object, it returns an object, so it's showing like object, and inside the object we have two things like keys. So many things are like how we discuss it. The same thing is there, and here you can check the some other like post, all those things resources are available, that's you can check. Okay, so the APIs, if you want to understand more about APIs, you can check. Okay, so that how the fetch work. Okay, so that how the fetch work. Okay, so here you can see if I don't pause this, what happened, the entire response. Okay, so the link will get the entire response, and the entire response will be sent it here. So here it is the value, actual value into this, and there is a response also there, and how all those things without passing that everything will be print out it. If I uncomment this, it will be sent only the passing one. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same thing, in my async done JavaScript as async await. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to comment this, and I'm going to use it with async and await. Why means, here you can see this fetch operator, it takes some time, so I need to wait for this. Okay, so I just cut this, and here we have created one, right? Just uncomment this. What I'm going to do, just go here, and here I just going to do, and this is a time taking action, right? So this is a time taking action, so what it's going to do, it takes some time to render. So what I'm going to do, I need here a wait. Okay, so I need until this fetch get completely. Okay, so after all the data or get completely, then only I go for the next step. Okay, so the next step, what I'm going to do, I just going to say const what I'm going to do now, I just going to parse it. Instead of getting all the things, I just going to parse it. So that is what I'm doing. So I just declare a variable data, and for parsing it, now all the response, the promises, everything that's is here. Okay, I just put it here, and I just put JSON. So what this JSON method do, it will parse the response coming here. So it will parse it, and it will send the output for the data. Okay, so now what I can say, console.log data. Okay, so like this, I just saying console.log, and I just say data, and I just say clear, and I just say refresh. Okay, wait, and I want to call the function to run, and I just going to call the function user, and I just say like this. Okay, so it's showing some users is not a defined at nucleum, something like that. Okay, okay, so it's running as quickly, that is how the error. Okay, so here you can see the promises has been written, and every data that is inside this object has been written. Okay, so what happened, means, now I use the async keyword, and here I use the await keyword. Okay, so why I'm using await here, because this is a time taking function, and after all the data will be fetched, then only I go for the next code. And here this is also a time taking function. Okay, so what here I'm doing, I'm go through all the response I get from this fetch API and I parsing it, which means I'm cutting it, right? So that is what I'm doing. So here also I want to put this. So wherever I want to wait, wherever the time taking function happen, so I want to wait. Okay, so here you can see after putting await only, what happened, everything will be fetched successfully. Okay, so if I don't put this, means what happened, a few things get paused, and suddenly what happened, it comes for console.log and it puts the data. Okay, so then what happened, so now only I cut the half portion, so only that half portion is only displayed. Okay, so not the entire thing. Okay, so I think you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so here you can see this is object promises. Okay, so now only I started to cut that, so JavaScript won't wait for anyone, so it is like it is taking some time to run. Okay, so I need to give time to that. Okay, so if I don't hear, I don't just say, if I don't hear, I don't put await, means what happened, it suddenly read that, and before all the data comes, it goes for the next line. Okay, so this will cause us some error, so that is why we needed some callbacks where to the flow control. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I just going to use the await. So if I use this await, now what happened, all the information that are paused, after that only this console.log will be run. So here you get the object and all the fake API, whatever the fake API produces, here you can get. Okay, so here the get method is there. Okay, so this is what inside that API. Okay, so there is something is there, and this is what a lot of things inside this the API means. There is an user ID is there, title is there, body is there, and so much of thing is there. Okay, no, I think this is not our API. So the API we fetched, I just going to copy this. I think this is the thing, like, no, this is not comments album photo. So whatever, I think we go for the users. Okay, so I think this is the API we going to use. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I just going to use this API. Okay, so by using the link, so what is the link here, so this is the link. Okay, so I just copy this. So if I copy this links and put it in my fetch, what would happen, so all this APIs is now, all the data is now accessible for me. Okay, so all the data is accessible. Until all the data is fetched successfully, I need to wait, and then only I proceed the next code. And after that all the data is like produced successfully, I need to go for the next code. So that has happened. So here I put to dos. Okay, so here we put some users. Okay, so now you can understand. Okay, okay, so here what I do, if I don't put an await here, and I just remove this. Okay, so you just clear it out. Okay, now you get an error, like you can see, like wait. Okay, so identifier, something like that. I think I rewrite the code which bit ugly. Okay, so now I think you understand the concept, right? So async, what it does, it's going to tell that I'm just going to return a promise. So it's like a promises. Okay, so what this rest do, so it's the fetch, after the fetch all the data, this wait for the await to run, and after it paused all the data, it runs for the await to run. And after this two things is completely done, then only you need to print all the data. So then only I get all the data, otherwise I will get whatever the data I pause. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, so I just going to remove this console. Okay, so till now we don't want a console. So what I'm going to do, I just going to use the loop and looping through the items inside it. Okay, so how can I see what are the items, what are the data inside this? Here you can see there is an array is there, right? So there is an array is there, and that is opened and that is closed here. Okay, so it is inside an array, so I can use like array operators like for each and all and everything I can use. And inside this array there is two object is there, and this is index 1. Okay, So no, this is index 1 till here, this is index 1, and this is what something like, no, we have only, I think, here. Okay, so from here to here, this is index 1. Okay, so and after that we have here to here, this is index 2. Okay, so by using for each loop, what we can do, it goes for every and everything. And what we can access, we can access the name of the person, we can access the username of the person, we can access the email, and we can, if you want to go till inside, you can able to go. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do, I just going to access all the person's name, and also I going to access all the person's username, and also I just going to access all the person's email. And there is like, there is like, we can use like, that is enough. Okay, so that is enough. Or you want to go for phone number, website, everything, we will go. So now I just going to use name, username, and email. Okay, so these three things I going to access for all the data. Okay, so that I just going to use it by for each loop. Let us see how I can do that. Okay, nice explanation, Sanket Chitri. Posts two objects. Ankit, I don't get it. What is meant by posts two objects? Okay, so let me comment in. Okay, so post to object like that. Okay, so post, I think you are telling me like post two objects, like you want to fetch two object. I'm not getting what you are saying. Just give a comment, I will explain you. Okay, so in this API we have an array. Okay, so in this array there are so much of objects are index inside that. So that is what we have seen yesterday, right? So yesterday we have like an array is there, and inside this we have two objects, but in that object we have only name and summary, title and summary is only there. But then the API here, you can see this is how actually the APIs are look. Okay, so now I just going to use the name and username and all. Let us see how we can do. What I going to do, I just going to loop through it. So for loop throughing it, I just going to use the iterator property. So I just going to call the, not a function, I just want to call the which one I want to loop through. So the final parsed data is this, right? So this variable. So I'm going to loop through this variable. So data. Okay. So data dot for each. For each. So what does for each do? This for each has a function. Okay, inside the for each method there is a function is there, and that function is runs over each and every like every values in that array. So if I write a function, that array is going to run on this index first, this 0th index, and it's go and run on the first index, second index, like that it go. Okay, so I just going to create an arrow function. So I just going to, so the value, so first accessed value, this value. Okay, so I just going to, this is the first accessed value. Okay, first it goes and run here. Okay, so this is the first accessed value. So I just going to have, so I need a parameter. Okay, so here what I going to do, without also we can go. So I just going to say item. Okay, so whatever the item we are fetching, that is comes under this parameter. So first it fetch the first parameter. Okay, so now it is in the item. Okay, so though it is an object, so how can we fetch that item dot? So by using the dot operator we can fetch that. Okay, so item dot, if I use the dot, what would happen, it will come inside, right? It will come inside, and we can able to fetch all the properties here. Okay, so if I say item dot name, it will return the first two name of the person, and if I say user dot name, it will return, is going to return the break, and if I say email, it's going to return this. Okay, let me do this. Okay, so I just say item, and this is a parameter, and I just going to give an arrow function, and here what I going to do, I just going to give couple of things to run. So that is what I just going to do. So for that I just going to use the ternary operator. Okay, so I just going to use the ternary operator, and the ternary operator I just going to use like this parameter is item. Okay, so the value is access, and inside this I want the name of the person. Okay, make sure that the case sensitive you are given here is the same case sensitive is in my like what the object is also. So otherwise it will not get, if I give a capsule name, it will go and check, no, nothing is there, so it gives like undefined like that. Okay, so and I want the username, right? So I just going to copy this. Okay, so after the name, just give a break. just to give the br, and after that what you want to print, you need to print the same thing like item dot username. Okay, and after that give a br, after that give a break, and the next line what I want the email of the person, so I just going to say user dot email. Okay, let us check with the case sensitive email, mostly small. Okay, so that is how it works. So I just save this. Okay, so now I want to tell, now we are looping through it, I want to tell that where to display this answer, right? Where to displaying this answer, so that is what I want to tell. So for that what I'm going to do, I just going to say like I just going to create an empty string, let output or something like OTP or not output like this. Okay, so I just create it and I empty string. Okay, so that is an empty string, and each and every time the loops through it, and the value should be come here and add here. Okay, how can I do that? You can use an assignment operator. So for that I just say output plus equal to. Okay, so if I use the assignment operator, now what happened, first it goes for, first the function takes item, so the first one what it get, we get this object, right? So now it is an item, right? So if I say item dot name, it goes for the first one item dot's name, and it take the name and it gives a br, and it takes the what item dot username and it gives an another br, and br means it's like an html. Okay, so we are using br tag to line break, right? So that is what I'm doing, and it takes the user dot email and all. Okay, so after that what happened, this process, this loop will keep on repeating until what, until we getting all the objects to be run. Okay, so until we get that. Okay, so here I going to do another thing, I going to underline the name and all. Okay, so for that I just use the bold tag and also like u tag. So this is what I going to do, this is going to underline the name of the person, because I want to understand whether it is fetched all the one or not. So okay, so I just going to give a b tag, so b is going to give it is in a bold, and you what it do, it just underline it. Okay, so now everything goes inside the output by using the assignment operator, so it is goes inside the browser. I want to display this in my what DOM, right? So this is my DOM right now. Okay, so how can I do that? So how can I do that? You can use some document properties. So if you want to work with the DOM APIs, you want to use the document. So I just say document dot body, I want to display it my body, I don't concise something. If I have some html and all, I can say that particularly you go there like that. So right now there is no html is on all, so I just have an html like this. So here if you want to display it in ul everything, so right now what I'm saying, I just go inside the body of the page. Okay, so which means it's go and display inside the body. Okay, so that is what it do. Okay, so inside the body dot, I just going to say inner html what it should go, so the variable output should be go. Okay, okay, so that's it. Okay, if I say run js, just refresh it. Sync. Okay, I think it's take some time to run, or we have missed out anything. So I think no, actually I'm trying to say this is an JSON pause holder, we have to post to instead of users, trying to say is in JSON placeholder, so we do have post to instead of users, that is slash post. Yeah, so actually that slash post is used to, we need to send some data to that, right? So but now what we are doing, we are not sending some data, we are getting that data. Okay, so we just getting that data, whatever the data is there, I'm just looping through it and I'm getting that. Okay, so that is what I'm doing, instead of instead I don't do like sending some data. So, okay, so that is what I did. Okay, so this post method, I understand what you are saying, like in this placeholder, right? So you are saying like this post something like this, or I think you are saying like this post, right? So this is used for, there are so much of we can say there are so much of type is there. So something is to get data, something is to post data, something is to update data, something that is there, that is something backend that we later. Okay, so what we are doing, we just looping through it. Okay, so it takes some time. I think it's not running, there is an error is there. Let's check whether what happens. Okay, so come on, come with me and let me check. Okay, so what I say, I declare and variable, till now everything correct, right? So I just say console.log, and here I say data. So I'm going to debug this. Okay, so console.log data. So I just run this. Okay, so it is coming, so the data is working. So the next thing is like data dot for each, I just declare a parameter so to get that item. And next thing is the output, I created a variable output with an empty string, that's fine. And we added an empty string, and we have added so much of like we remove this. Okay, so we have added ul br item dots name, item dots email and all. Okay, so that is going to be displayed. Okay, I think let me remove some of them. Okay, instead of using this, I just cut it off. And here what I'm going to do, I just simply say type all of their name. Okay, so I just say item dot name. Okay, so type. Okay, it is coming. So there is an error with this HTML, right? So what is the error? What is the actual error is there? Okay, so if I type br, it is done. And next what I'm going to do, I think I missed some syntax. That is how I think what is the API we have get. The API we have fetched is like users, like users is the API we have fetched. Okay, so here I just going to use the username. I just copy and paste it. So that is why the copy and pasting is always helpful. Okay, so and here what I'm going to do, I just going to say item dot and a username too. Okay, now you can see this is a username too. Let I just copy this and I paste it here. Okay, so this is the name of the person and this is the username of the person. Okay, so that is how it works. So I given another br2. Okay, that you may understand, like, okay, so it is all the object. Okay, so if I go for the last object, here you can see something name is there, Clementina and Moria is there, right? So if I go and check lost ID, here you can see the name of the person is Clementina and Moria. So it is accessing through the loops. Okay, so this is how the async and await has been worked. Okay, so you also give whatever you want, like for example, if I want to give the name, email of the person, you just if you want to give, like, you can use the template string and you can use and give that. Okay, so I just say item dot and what is that, email, right? So email, and if I call this email, now everything will be perfect. And here I given another br to separate it. Okay, so here you can see this is the first person's name and username email, second person's name, username, email, third person's name, username, email. Okay, so this is how this actually works. So this API, it's created actually created, and by using this async await, what we can do, we can control the flow, right? So if I just remove anything from here, you will not get, you will get stuck in something like, okay, what happened means actually here you need to give await. Okay, so if you are using async something where you need to declare an await, so if I remove here, you can see that how what happens. Okay, okay, so what literally happens means it just wait for this to run, but all the other data will not wait. Okay, so what happened this here, if I don't say and stop, please wait until you are done. Okay, so if I don't stay, that means what happened, it will go on for the next code. So the next code comes here, now the data is not loaded, right? So if now it is empty, so it comes here, what happened, this, there nothing is there, so I'm looping through nothing, right? I'm looping through something else, right? So only half is loaded. So I want to give a speed breaker for something, so you can consider await as a speed breaker. So what it do, it gives a speed breaker and it just wait, and you just finished your work, I am waiting. After I waiting, I allow some other terms to come. Okay, so that is how it works. Let's go first team mode. Okay, I think no queries. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so this is how the async works. And if you have any doubts in async, you can ask right now. Okay, because we not going to touch anything in asyncs now. Okay, so we're going to for the next concept, like what is classes and inheritance. So if you have any doubt, you can just come, you just give an, like, what's, you just give an comment here. Okay, Okay, so if you have, you just give, I wait for your comments. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I just going for like what is classes and inheritance. Okay, so this is actually async and away. Okay, so we have covered that. Now we going for the classes and inheritance. So what is meant by classes? So the simple terms, you can learn classes and inheritance. It is very easy. So people are confusing this classes and inheritance. Okay, so much tough. Okay, so because of some other, they are thinking like, oh no, classes inheritance like that. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, so it is very easy. You can easily understand. Okay, so what is an object? First of all, an object is also like an array, but it has a named indexes. So arrays has a numbered indexes, right? So but object has a named indexes. It also going to store a multiple data, and it has a power to store and even an object too, and it has a power to store and function too. So whatever is out there in JavaScript, everything is stored inside that object. Okay, so that is the power. Okay, so that is actually an object is. So classes is nothing but it is like blueprint for creating an object. Let I explain. Let I explain. If I consider this is object, right? So I think I just zoom it. Okay, consider this is an object. Okay, so if you are working in a company, okay, if you are working in a company or you are the CEO of the company, okay, hello folks, you are the CEO. Okay, so you are the CEO of the company and you want to maintain your employees data. So consider this data as your employees data. So what you are doing, you are creating an object. Okay, so there is an employee come. Okay, so there is an employee come. So what you are doing, and you created an employee in the name of employee. Okay, you created a variable in the name of employee and you give him ID. You are the first one, so I just give an ID, and all the details of the employees are here, like name of the person, username of the, and email and address and his geolocations, phone number, website, and how many previous experience, so much of things. Okay, so you have created. Okay, so you just created. Okay, so this is how actually you create something, right? Create an object. This is how you actually create an object. That I come to know. You in your company, if you are a startup, you have like 1 or 2 members, it's fine. In your company, if you have like 5,000 of employees there, every time you want to create all the thing like ID, name, username, email, address, street, shoot, city, zip code, geolocation for that 5,000 employees. Okay, how many times it takes? Just imagine how many times. If you create it in manually, and there is, what all are the disadvantages there? The first one is it takes lots of time, and the second one is what, you can able to miss something, right? Some data you will be missed. Okay, even if you are a pro developer, you will like something cities has been missed, and some employees say that I don't know what is the geolocations, so I will tell you tomorrow, and tomorrow you will not ask him, so he also left. So this will be kept as that, right? So that is what happens. So actually this is an object, right? So object is nothing but, if I take a car, I'm describing. If you are a poet, okay, so if you want to describe something, okay, if you want to describe a mountain, what you are describe, so you speak about how the trees in your mountains are there, or how the animals are living in the mountains, how that like something like that, right? So if you want to describe something, you want to use that. If I want to describe a mountain, I want to use all the information for that mountain, like trees, peoples in the mountains, like that, so on, so on thing. The same concept. If I want to describe a person, I want to describe about that person. So that is object oriented programming language. So what is mean by oriented? So it is oriented. For example, if I want to describe this water can, how can I say? So what is the height of the water can? What is the width of the water can? What is, how it is an opening type, or like bottleneck type, or something else I want to describe? And what is the company name? What is it, is a sports brand or not, or something else like that? This is how we describe, right? So that is what object also do. So object is nothing but it describes a particular thing. If I say employee, it describe about the employee, his name, details, salary, experience, all those things. If I say a car, it describe about the model car. It may be anything, but it describes according to that. Okay, so this is an object. Okay, so all the object. So you can see this is also created as equally, and this is also created like that, and this is also created like that. Every time I'm not able to create manually all the information. So what I can do, I can create a blueprint. Okay, what I can do, I can create a blueprint. So in that blueprint I can explain that, okay, so in an object I want these properties. Okay, in an object I want these properties, and after that I want these methods. Like that is we created it. And if an employee comes, what we can use, by using that blueprint we can able to create an object easily. Like within a line of code we can create this entire object, we can able to create this entire object. That is the future that classes do. And inheritance is nothing but, it is like inheritance. What is my inheritance? In some people are saying like you are looking like your father, right? Okay, so the characters, the gene is like your father, right? So if you are looking like your grandfather has like same mustache like that, right? So some people are saying like, so what is my inheritance? So inheritance is like something like that. It takes for example, if I want to update this object, okay, so this is the old data. I using this as a reference, and I want to create a new thing. I use that inheritance. Okay, so whatever the thing I want I can use here, and also if I want to update something I can also do that. Okay, so if I do the practical thing you can able to understand. Let's see how the classes and inheritance works. Okay, so for creating classes and inheritance we have several syntaxes there. First we go and use the class, how to create a class. Okay, so just a minute, I take the reference notes. Okay, so where this classes and inheritance and these ES6 concepts are going to help means, if you are willing to learn React, so if you have React in your portfolio, then you will definitely get an internship or job. That's a guaranteed one. So this is the best time to get into. Okay, so for that we use like you get to know like what is class based components, function based components in React, and so on also there. And here this is the base. Okay, so JavaScript is the base. Okay, let I come to the concept. Okay, so for creating an what we can say, creating an blueprint, first we need to call an class. So it is also like a function. Okay, so it is also like a function, but instead of function keyword we use the class. So what this class do, this class will create an blueprint. So consider this is a blueprint. Okay, keyword blueprint for creating an object, and I'm saying that core. And make sure that if you are using classes, the first letter should be like caps. Okay, so it will be a good practice, good thing to do. Okay, so first letter should be caps. Okay, so and I just going to describe like this. Okay, I open. So how the function, if I create a function, I name the function and I open something like that. Okay, so and I put all the code inside that. And same like this, if you want to create a class, use the class keyword, and first letter make sure here we don't give any parentheses and all, because this is going to be a reference blueprint for us and we don't want this to be called. Okay, so we're going to call later. Okay, so you just want to start with caps. Okay, so this is a good practice. And the next thing is we're going to use constructor. And I'm very bad in writing English spelling, so make sure I'm okay. So if I write something wrong, correct me. Okay, constructor, I think constructor, constructor, it's fine. Okay, so here what is the constructor method do means, okay, it's fine. For what this constructor method do means, inside this only all the property is tagged. Okay, so this is syntax. Inside this only all the properties are we going to assign it. Okay, so what all are the property here? If I come means what are the property? The ID is a property, name is a property, username is a property, email is a property, address is a property, and so on. So things are properties. Here there is no methods are there, only properties is there. So what I'm going to do, I just going to create ID, name, email, address. Not address, we just go for ID, name, email, name, username, and email. Okay, so this is all we want. So what I'm going to do, I just going to create it. Okay, so I just going to create it. First I want an ID and six. So this is now act as an property, but actually in constructed method this is a parameter, right? So we're going to pass that. Let I explain, don't worry if you have any doubts. Okay, so I just say name, and here what I'm going to do, I just going to say user, and you can say username, and here what I'm going to say is the email. Okay, so now this is a method, right? So constructed as a method, and we can pass something inside it, right? So it is a method, means these all are the properties. Okay, so these all are the properties that we going to create in an object. So now it is in a methods parameter. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I just going to use the this keyword. So I just going to explain how this works in class itself, because this has a very depth concept in JavaScript. Okay, so that is what we want to understand, and that's also we're going to see about dismissing this. Okay, so what I did, I created a class with a name car, and this constructor is taking off all the properties. And what I did, I say this, and I explain how this working inside it. Okay, explain it, and I say this dot id. If someone says this dot id, if someone calls that this dot id, you need to give the value of this parameter. Okay, so I say id. Okay, so like this, and the same thing is going for everything. Okay, so like this. Okay, like this. Like this, and instead of here this dot id, I just going to say if someone calls some name, this dot name. Okay, so which means we can say course dot name. Okay, course dot id. If someone course dot name, means the second parameter is going to be used. So the second parameter is going to be used here. Okay, so if someone calls the username, okay, so you can use it here. Someone calls the email, and you can give the email given by the user. Okay, so I have created it. Okay, I think something is not brand name is equal to, and we have created so much of things and so on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, this is a blueprint. Okay, so consider this is a blueprint, and based on this blueprint only, I just going to create an object now. Let's see how can I create. So I just say create cons, and I'm going to name, like I just say cost first car, like this. So first car is my object name, and here what I'm going to do, I just going to create, by using this blueprint, I'm going to create an object. How can I do that? Mean you need to use the new keyword. So this is indicating that we are going to use an object, and classes is also an object. That is a blueprint for an object too. And I just go want this to be called, and here you can see this is car, and I call this car, and inside this you have several uh, options. Right here you can see how many parameters we have. 4 parameters, like id, name, username, and email, and you can capable to give all those things. For example, if I say give one, and the name should be, it's a string, like this is the name of the person, and here I just going to say username, and I just going to say this like this, and I just going to say the email of the person, like that is also a string, and I just say at like this, simply like this. Okay, so right now I done that. Okay, so now what happened, means, so before getting into that, we display this answer in something else, and we can see that. Okay, so what I'm going to say, I just say document dot body dot inner html is equal to, and here what I'm going to say, I just going to call this first car. Okay, first car, and how can we access something dot, and here I just going to say name. Okay, name of the person, print the name of the person. Okay, like this. Just refresh here. Okay, so this JS bin is doing lots of problem for me. Okay, so I just going to use the write method, write. Okay, I think whether it's coming or not. Okay, I just going to console log it first. I just say console.log, and here I just going to say first car. Okay, so I just comment this. Okay, I go for the console, I just refresh it. It is saying me an error is there, unexpected token this is used. I think here it happens. I just want to, yeah, just I want to forget about the syntax, right? So every properties that I am declaring, that should be comes under the constructor. Okay, so that is what I missed. So I'm also looking at that. Oh, it's not showing like this. Okay, so now we don't want the console. So you can able to understand like how the console is a lifesaver for us, right? So if I say something like this, first name, write something. Okay, okay. So instead, okay, now we don't want the console. Okay, so here you can see the first name. If I call the car dot, and if I call this name, what happened? The first name I given here has been printed. If instead of this I just call the username, and you can see the username is printed, and it's a good thing to show it in how the object is created, right? So here you can see I created an object, and that has an email, that has an ID, that has a name, that has a username. But I don't do that. Okay, so if I want to create another object, okay, so what can I do? I use the same thing. Like instead of go and write everything, what I can use, I just use the same thing. And here what I'm going to do, instead of I calling the first name itself, I just going to say my car, and here I can give some name changes, like instead of I just say 𝐏𝐚𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐜𝐚𝐿𝐴, something like that. I don't know what is meaning by that. Okay, so like this I changing something like this. Okay, so here you can see now I just clear it, and once it runs, now you can see I just copy and paste it and call the my car, my car. Okay, I clear it, run this, and now you can see an object is created, and I created another object by using the same blueprint. Okay, so can inner text works? Yes, of course inner text works. Okay, so why not inner text works? If I say like document dot body dot inner text. Okay, so inner text, whether it comes in caps or not, so that is a big thing, right? So let me check. Okay, so whether everything is in caps or everything is comes in small. Okay, so okay, here you can see it will work. Okay, so if you have any doubt, if I want to, like, if I go through my email, okay, here you can see my email is printed. Okay, so I explain this only, and we bind up the sections. Okay, so I explain how it works first of all. Okay, so here you can see I created an I just remove this. So now you can see that, right? So object is created, right? So this is a easy way to creating an object. So here you can see classes has been done, and this is a blueprint. Okay, based on this blueprint only, we are creating an object in a single line. Okay, we just giving ID number, name, and username, email, and whatever so on you want to give, you can give. Okay, so there's no problem with that. And here you can see car, I just named this as a car. And constructor, what this constructor method do means, it going to hold all the properties. Okay, so what means properties? Properties is nothing but it's like a variable inside an object, so it's going to be a key value pass, right? So here you can see name is like what is name is like key, and this is a value that is called as property. So this entire thing is called as property. Okay, so I want how many properties I want right now. I want ID, I want name, I want username, and I want email. So these are all the properties I want. And here inside the this, okay, so how here this works means, so we're going to discuss about this keyword in a deep sections. Okay, so now here how this works means, whenever it is inside a class, it doesn't refers to anything. Okay, it does not refers to anything. Okay, it does not refers to the class itself, it does not refers to anything. So whenever I declared a function, okay, so not a function, whenever I declared that classes, so now this refers to the first car. Okay, so if I call my car, so now this refers to the my car. So whenever you are calling that object, that this refers to the object you are created. Okay, so that is the main thing. I think you get it what I'm saying. Okay, so what it do means, if now you are creating an object means, if you are calling, like for example, if you are calling my car, what it do means, it just that this refers to the first car. And if you call, so what is the object that is calling, that this refers to that object. Okay, so in classes. Okay, so here this refers to what? It refers to first car. Okay, if I call the first car, so here I only call the first car, right? So if I call the first car, so it is refers to first car dot id. So if someone calls first car dot id, returns this id. So this is what, this is a parameter. So this parameter, what is the use of parameter? It gets some value from the argument. So where it gets his value, so here you can see, we using new keyword and car. So this is indicating that we are going to use that blueprint of the class. So it is indicate that we are going to use an object. Okay, so I say new means it's indicate that we are using an object, and here I just say car. Okay, so which means I'm going to use the parameter. Okay, if I say one, so this argument is taken, go to this id, and it is stored here. Okay, so whenever I call first car dot id, so the value, what is the value given for first car? It's 1, so it is come here. So what is the value given for my car? It is 2, so the id will come here. Okay, so this is how it works. So once the blueprint has been created, you don't want to worry about creating so much of object. So how many object you want? Let me tell. Okay, I just want to copy it and paste it. If I want a new object like my car, like my car 1. Okay, this is an object 3. Okay, like this. Okay, so I just want to change the name to like something like B, like this. Okay, so now right now what I'm going to do, I just going to call this, call my car 1. Okay, so my car 1, just going to paste, remove this, not first car, guys, just copy, paste it. Okay, I called my car 1. If I put dot, what happened? Now I am initiating that this. Okay, so now this which one calling this, my car 1 is calling this, right? So if I call for the id, if I call for id, what happened? This argument is passed to this parameter, and this value is stored inside this. So here I am saying that if someone calls my car 1 dot id, then show the value they have given. So if I say like id, here you can see the id of this is 3, right? So if I say like something like the next thing, if you want to add a template literal, anything, whatever you want to loop through it, you can go and you can able to do that. Okay, so this is how the classes has been created. I think, hope uh, everything will be good. I understanding now, right? So this is how they created. And if you want to use a method, okay, so we're going to see that how to create a method. So this constructor is also a method, right? So remember that everything that comes under constructor, that is only for the properties. If you want to create a method, what you want to do means you can create it here separately. Okay, so how can you create it means you can create it, like, for example, I want to say name and email. Okay, so that is my function. Okay, so anything, what is mean by method? A function that inside the object, that is called as method, right? So here I just going to say name email. So this is my method, and I just create how I create a method like that. Okay, so I just created like this, and here I say return. Okay, so return, and here I just going to say return back is name dollar sign, and here we can use like same thing like this dot name. Okay, so then only we can know which one. If my car comes means this dot name is Hari. If first car call means that this dot name is Hari. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so my name, and here I just going to say is equal to, so I just say email, and the same thing, what I going to do, this dot email. Okay, like this. Okay, so we have created. Okay, so this is a method. Okay, so this is a function. So how can we call the function? So we can simply call the function simply like this. For example, I just say name caps email, and if you call like this, here you can see name is V and email is Hari. So I think this is something like created crazily. Okay, so I just paste it here. Here you can see name is Hari and the email is email is 𝐏𝐚𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐜𝐚𝐿@gmail.com. Okay, so we can access this is a method. So this is for creating an function blueprint. Okay, so now this function is used for my first car to my car to my car 1 2. Okay, so I think attendance link, yeah, just a minute, it's time's up, right? Thank you for remember me. Okay, I just copy. I think this is day 2. Okay, so this is for today. So we have completed what is class and class method. Tomorrow we're going to see about class inheritance. What is the class? What is meant by classes inheritance and how we inherit from that. So that is all we're going to cover it here. Okay. So and one more information I want to share, and so much of the people's has been LinkedIn personal. In LinkedIn they personally messaged me like about the sections, right? So about the private boot camps we have, right? So we have some offline boot camps also. So that is also I give all the details in the chat box too. If you want you can check it out. Okay, so I give the date, I give like why it is separated, I give what is the procedure, what is the thing and all we have. So consider this is our free classes. So consider how if you participated in the boot camps means how we teach. So okay, so here we going to teach it in a personal manner. So if you have any doubts personally, some people are shy at that, and we will help you to network, and we will help you to get placement, internship, whatever you want, we will help you there. And we will get if whatever the things you need to know, like you can go through the documents also. So okay, so if I go for the docs, here I just put a link. There is a document also, there is a curriculum, what is you are going to learn. The curriculums also include. This is an offline boot camps where we going to personally train the students, and we going to personally help the students to get their desired and career job to get. Okay, so that is what this personal career guidance to go into that. So if you have any doubts you can contact us in LinkedIn. And so all the resources you have seen that video format, right? So I'm planning to post in my LinkedIn post like the resources for where you can learn JS and how can you learn JS. Is it in offline? This is bootcamp, it is in online. Okay, so but also we have an offline badge too. Okay, so we have an offline badge too. If you wish you can dam our founder Nabidu Biswas sir. I hope that you will know, or you can dam me. I will pitch to you Biswas sir. There is an offline badge is also there, but this boot camp is an online boot camp where you going to learn again the thing about Marine Stack. Okay, and also you get a mentorship too. So Nabidu where sir, and I think it's Bangalore, right? I think like maybe I think he has Nabidu Biswas sir takes the Bangalore offline class, I think. So if you want more information about offline, just pitch in LinkedIn. Okay, so sir is uh, very active in LinkedIn. Okay, so you can also active call. You can also contact me there too. Okay, so you can contact me for offline badge. This is online badge where we going to take the live classes, and where we going to take the entire doubt clearing session also going to be there, and we personally train. Okay, so no one else is there, we personally one-to-one interaction is going to be there, and we're going to provide all the resources what you want you succeed in your development. This is all about Marine Stack Bootcamp. Okay, you can participate if you want to be a front end, back end, whatever, full stack, whatever you want, you can participate. That's how. Okay, so and if you have any doubts you can sit React class now. Yes, of course, React class is also there. You can check the document, React class is also there, and it's about entire thing, like entire Marin you get to learn. Okay, so if you just go through our YouTube, you can see like we are working with more than 4 to 5 databases, and we working with Angular, we work with React, we work with Vue. All the out frameworks is there, all the videos are here. And if you want to JavaScript beginner, advanced, mastery level, pro level, everything is there. And there is going to be happen a JavaScript project section is also going to be happen, and that is in the end of the month. Okay, so 5 days 5 project, that is also challenges is there, one-to-one doubt clearing meeting is there. Yes, React classes is in, right, Sanjay? Yes, React classes is there. Okay, so React classes is also there. And I think whether you're asking for YouTube or for that offline, both things is there. Okay, if you are coming for the paid course, there is also a React classes there. And also if you are watching YouTube, very soon Nabidu Biswas are going to take the React beginner to advanced classes. Okay, so no, how to register? So you just go for you just, I think you got the link, right? So here you can see like what is the payment details, and you get the documents and all. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please come to the LinkedIn and clarify your doubts. And then if you want to register, just tell that I watched this live section and there I get the LinkedIn to Abhidu Biswas sir, you will get it, or otherwise you can contact us me. Okay, so I'm going to share all the resources, all the learning materials in my LinkedIn too. Okay, so that is what I'm planning towards TWD. Okay, so I'm going to contribute that too. And if you want some written materials or some blogs to learn, you can come here, come to my LinkedIn also. Okay, so if you, because sir is little busy, okay, so taking some corporate trainings and all, he is little busy is that. Okay, if you have any queries, you can personally contact me. Okay, so in my LinkedIn. Okay, so many people are already contact me, I respond them. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can call that. Okay, so on YouTube or online tools. So not, this bootcamp is not in YouTube. Okay, it is personally for you. Okay, it is going to be taken for every Saturday. It's going to taken for 4 hours personally for you, and every Wednesday it is going to taken for doubt clearing section. Okay, so can you share your LinkedIn profile? Okay, so just a minute, just give a minute. Okay, okay, showing some errors. Okay, so don't wait for a minute. Okay, so I just share you personally, and right now it's good only. I think there is an error happening when I'm copy and paste it is there. Okay, so I try to avoid that. Okay, contact me in LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn profile. Okay, so where you going to get all your resources, I going to post very soon. I going to connect that as a series. Okay, so you're going to get to know like a series. So every week you will learn a new concept in JavaScript, you can master it. Okay, so that is what we are planning it. And the offline bootcamps is going to be very effectively, we are planning that. There are so much of students are there, and we have placed them in an internship too. That is also we going to serve. Sir, create a video on LinkedIn. Sir, create a video on, so like what video, I don't getting what video, what type of video. So like you are thinking like, I don't have LinkedIn, I don't have a LinkedIn. Okay, if you don't have a LinkedIn, join right now. Okay, that is the only thing, that is the only request I tell to you. Okay, because there is so much of opportunities in LinkedIn you will get. Okay, oh, about LinkedIn. Okay, so you just go about LinkedIn. Okay, so I know that you just YouTube it, you can know the potential of LinkedIn. Okay, so I think a person know Ishan Sharma is posted a beautiful video on LinkedIn. So much of other tech YouTubers, or like famous tech YouTubers are out there, they are posted LinkedIn, they are actively in LinkedIn. And if you want a job or internship, come for LinkedIn. I say, don't wait a minute, just come for LinkedIn. Okay, okay, so if you have any error, it's like that, you just wait. Okay, so I will share you personally the link and all, and you will came to know the cost. Like, this is our founder Abhidu Biswas sir is going to take all your personal cloud doubt clearing sections and all, and I will share his LinkedIn too. Okay, wait for a minute, I just share Biswas sir LinkedIn too. Okay, okay, you can contact SaaS, you can just connect with Shah too. Okay, so he will, his post and his works on LinkedIn is so great. Okay, so you can connect us Shah too. Okay, so you can get to know about any information about this course, you can get to know, and you will, because Shah is going to take care of you the whole. Okay, so you can give if you get a mentor, that is easily you will get to know all the possible technologies. Okay, okay, so I think there is no doubt for today. Okay, so see you in the next class. Okay, so I wait for your chats LinkedIn. Okay, so I think Sanjay just go through in YouTube some videos. Okay, so you get to know what is LinkedIn, what is the potential and power of LinkedIn, and you definitely you will, I want to see you in LinkedIn. Okay, so come with me. Okay, so okay guys, bye, see you next class, we see you in the next session. Okay.